Hi, welcome to Sephra's World. I'm Sephra, and this is my world. And some of you may know that I have started a Substack and Sephra's World Observations. And on my Substack, I am writing a novel in tiny little slices. So I'm writing very small snippets of a novel and writing as I go, and I'll see how that goes. It's an exercise for me, and I hope it's entertaining for you. And it's free, so why not? I'm sure a lot of people are waiting till I get many more entries in before they start reading it, because people these days just are not used to the serials. I grew up with the, comic strips in the paper where, you'd read like 4 frames and you'd have to wait the next day for the next one. I grew up with the TV shows, the Westerns and various shows like that where, it end on a cliffhanger and you have to wait for the next week. I know my serial vlogger story isn't quite as robust as that because they're very teeny tiny little snips. And I probably will make longer ones as time goes on, as I become more involved with my project. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And if anyone ever has any questions or concerns about it, let me know. So that's one of the things I'm doing on Substack. People who have known me my whole life know I'm a bit of a political activist, and I do marches and stuff. So if I do a march or things, I'm going to start to record doing that. I went to a march a week or two ago to stop the mining on the Anishinaabe lands and things like that, trying to protect the First Nations ancestral lands. There's lots of land in Canada that can be mined. We don't need to bulldoze where people are actually living. And hey, how about getting all those people some clean drinking water? That would be nice too. It'd be nice if they could feel like they're living in 2023 instead of 1823. Yeah, I know. Anyway, so that's my Substack. And then another thing I'm doing, because I have been struggling a lot lately. Well, I've been struggling my whole life, as we all do, as we try to figure out how to live our lives. What are we doing with our lives? What's happening with our lives? And for me, I started just before the pandemic, and I think I mentioned it on here, that I was starting to try and do an attitude of gratitude. I was trying to, not trying, but I was actively engaging in being grateful for things, and no matter how shitty things are, to be present in the moment and understand things. Anyone who's known me any length of time knows I have a really bad temper. I can be sarcastic and mean. And so over the last 4 years, I was really trying to pull back on that and really just trying to embrace my older cronism, now that I'm old. Things aren't as when I was younger. I have more patience now, and I see things way more clearly now. I see the big picture a lot more clearly, and that might be partly because I'm an Aquarius, partly because I'm a tarot reader, partly because I am engaged in trying to understand world events and how other people are living, and not necessarily to mock them, but just to understand where they're coming from. So everyone's journeys are different. Everyone's experiences are different. And how we approach life is different. How we receive insults and abuse and all that sort of stuff is different. I've had a lot of abuse in my life, and it's something I still don't really talk about. It wasn't parental abuse, so don't worry about that. But what I will say is it does color how you see the world. It does color how you act and react to things. I can't deal with men raising their voices at me in anger. It's been that way for a long time. And that'll make me snap. Or feeling belittled will make me snap. Anyway, so I'm starting to understand the things that annoy me, and I'm learning how to keep myself away from things. And I've also learned very, very late in life that I don't always have to react to everything. I don't have to react to every shitty email. I don't have to react to every angry insult. And especially when you're dealing with whether it's friends or family, um, people who have addiction issues, whether they're alcoholics or on drugs of any kind, that kind of change or transforms their behavior, and sometimes the behavior isn't great. And then, of course, when people do send angry emails out of the blue to be insulting and horrific to their family members or to their friends, it's very hurtful to receive such things. And but I can choose how to react to it, and I'm not proud of how I usually react, but I'm trying to gain more distance and insight into how I react. And so, why I'm telling you all this is because this is part of my journey of the attitude of gratitude that I undertook just before all the stuff happened those few years ago. And so last year my father died, and so I'm have a whole new life now because I've moved my mother to a nursing home where I can see her a lot. And I remarked to someone the other day, I've never seen my mother so much in my life as I have in the last few months, because it's true. Because of distance and lifestyles and jobs and various things, it's a crazy ride. And I'm very super grateful I get to spend my mom's last few years going to be with her, though it's depressing. She does know who I am. She has late stage Alzheimer's. She actually does know. She is always happy to see me with a big smile. Hi, Sephra. Sometimes I'm her daughter, sometimes I'm her mother, sometimes I'm her sister, and that's fine. And then she sometimes knows her grandchildren, sometimes not. They're adults now. She recognizes them, and she knows them, but may not be quite sure how. And it's also, again, because that there wasn't a lot of visits and stuff, a few times a year. So I think when you get to that point in Alzheimer's, and you've only seen someone like 4 or 5 times a year, it's going to be hard to remember them when they show up. And so my gratitude is, even though my father died and that was horrible to watch him die, I did have gratitude that I was with him when he died. Even though I didn't even know he was going to die, it was all very traumatic. And I have gratitude that I was able to move my mother to where I can spend her last few years. I think it'll be years because she's gotten pretty healthy since she moved into the home. She's really improved her health, not her mind. Her mind's, but her health is certainly. She can't walk. She can walk a bit because she has broken hips, but because she does fall a lot, we keep her in the wheelchair pretty much now, and it's just safer and easier and less stressful for everyone. I know she does walk, and she does have a walker. But yeah, so why torture her? Just let her enjoy reading her Dr. Seuss books over and over again. So I'm going through these huge changes, and my changes are not unusual. My life story is not unusual. So many of you have the exact same story. You're dealing with friends and family who have issues. They have psychological issues, addiction issues, dealing with aging parents, dealing with adult children, or maybe you've started your family late in life, so maybe you're dealing with aging parents and toddlers. A lot of people are having children in their 40s and 50s, and when we hit our 50s and 60s, that's when our parents start breaking down from that generation. Of course, in the new generations, it may be different. My children will have the same story as me because the age gap between me and my children is the same as my parents and me. So my children will go through the same the same thing I am. However, yeah, if they have children, they don't have. I don't have grandchildren yet, but just as they're growing up, once they hit their 60s, they'll have to deal with their parents aging out on them if we make it that far, which we probably do because their father, um, his genes are really strong too. So these are all things where we can get really sick. It can take a lot of stuff out of our health. And last week I went to emergency because I feel like I'm falling apart. I was having a headache, super dizzy. I couldn't even see. Uh, the heart hurt. I had super high blood pressure, and so I went to the hospital. They did a bunch of tests, and I'm going to be going for some more stuff. But basically, it was I'm okay. I'm pretty okay for my age and all that. So yesterday I went to see my doctor, got my flu shot, and so we've. I told her I don't want to go on blood pressure medication. I really, really want to try and um, work through things myself. And I'm sure she's thinking, well, why didn't you work through it already? But I told her all the stuff that's been happening in my life. She's like, yeah, I can see why your blood pressure's high. So we made a pact that I'm going to spend the next month working on getting my weight down. I'm going to try and get back to the gym. And I've already changed my eating habits since I went to emergency. And so my goal is to lose about 5 pounds before I see my doctor next. I have to get my pap test anyways. And that'll give me motivation because quite frankly, since my dad died, I've had no motivation for anything. you know, it's traumatic, especially when you're not expecting it. Or maybe not. Maybe it's worse when you're expecting it. I don't know because I've only had the experience where my dad went to the hospital with a stomach ache and died. So it wasn't. Um, it was. It took. It's. I'm finally. I know I'm weepy now, but I do feel like I've kind of worked through the trauma. Anyways, so I'm here to tell you that all this big long roundabout road is why I've created a workbook. And I'll probably do another video that isn't as long and personal. But I've created a workbook called My Attitude of Gratitude Journal. And with this, I want to help other people get through the stuff in their life. And like I said, life's not easy for any of us. And I know there's a couple of huge wars going on right now that's affecting millions of people around the world because friends and family and, worrying and not knowing and it's horrific. And so why am I talking about gratitude when people are dying and babies are being, all this? And yeah, it's because we feel helpless, right? When we see these horrific events or even a personal event like your dad dying suddenly in front of you, we feel helpless and we need to get some grounding. We need to figure out how to make sense of what's going on and the big picture, the universal making sense. Sometimes it's too big, it's too much. That people questioning their religion and their spiritual ideas, like how can this be happening? And then, especially with religious wars, one side thinks their religion's better than the others, or all these ideas. So all we can really do is pull in to ourselves, and I don't mean being selfish, but all we can really control is ourselves, right? And even then, it can be hard to control ourselves because we live in a society with societal constructs and expectations and anticipations and we need to make money because we live in a society, we live on a planet where for some reason we have to pay to live, even though nature is free and all that. There's money, there's currency, and the rich get richer. The rest of us are just in a disaster. A one-bedroom apartment in Toronto right now is $2,864 a month. And I don't know where these jobs are that people can pay that. And obviously there are, because people are doing that and paying that. I don't have that. I'm a writer and I'm not a best-selling author. You know? So I see this and I'm like, oh my God. Well, my gratitude is I live in an artist co-op and I stumbled into here about, oh, I heard about this place. It's been over 10 years now since I first applied, and I got in after 5 years. And then I'm on the membership committee of this co-op. And it's depressing. But I wanted to be on the membership committee to see the types of people coming in here and to talk to the various people, give them hope or not hope. You know, it's there's nowhere for anyone to go. I think this place was invented as kind of a launching pad where you could do your art, get some income in the bank, and then move to a nicer place. But no one can move. There's people in here that have been here since it opened in 1991. Now, certainly there have been lots of years where they probably could have moved and had a good life, but they chose to stay here because the rent's a little more affordable than, it's not any $2,000 a month, I'll tell you that. And I don't think anyone in this entire 4 buildings I live in we could all pool our money and not pay that. You know? Yes. So I have the gratitude of not being homeless, because I very well could be. So the attitude of gratitude workbook is to help us get focused. And I know I've spoken for 17 minutes not being focused, and like I said, I'll do a shorter one too. So with the book, it's very simple. It's about getting focused. It's a very simple workbook. I'm going to probably make some other workbooks as well with more exercises in them. This one, I didn't want to be overwhelming for anyone. So basically, all you have to do is remember to breathe. You know, stay focused in the moment. And this is the most important part of the gratitude, or the ideas of trying not to get overwhelmed by the outside world, is just staying focused in the moment. If we worry about what we've done in the past, that clutters up our mind, and there's nothing we can do. I mean, obviously there are some things we can do. If we've been an asshole, we can go apologize to people and stuff like that. But for the most part, a lot of things, you know, my dad's dead, my mom's got Alzheimer's, nothing I can do. It's out of my hands, right? In the moment, I'm here making a YouTube video for you, trying to help you figure out how to get grounded in your own chaos. And then in the future, certainly we need to plan for the future, set goals for the future, but try not to freak out about the future, right? So that's kind of where we're at. So the 3 exercises in the workbook are super simple. You just get up in the morning and you just write in your book, what am I grateful for today? So that sounds really simple and almost too simple. And you think, why would I be grateful for anything when the first moment I wake up in the morning? Well, you might be grateful that you woke up in the morning. You might be really sick, or you may have things and you're worried you won't wake up, you know. But also, you don't have to fill out that part in the morning. You could wait till the end of the day for your quiet time and make your notes then. What am I grateful for today? Well, today I, found a quarter on the floor, whatever you're grateful for, right? It doesn't have to be something big. It could be something small, like, oh, I remembered to drink all my water. Things like that. You don't have to think super big picture. I'm grateful for life and love, and just simple stuff like I'm grateful I have this chair. It doesn't have to be a big deal. And I've also created the book in such a way that it's a small book. and there's not a lot of room, and there's no lines, because I feel like some people are artistic and they may want to draw a picture of what they're grateful for, or for the other questions. Or maybe you just want to color, like just do blue, just scribble a blue line, and and you're feeling blue, or blue makes you happy, or it's up to you. No one's checking the book. There's no teacher. You're not handing it in at the end of class, right? So that first question, what am I grateful for today? And so that's something to consider. And actually, before you write that, I do have a spot for the date. And for the date, that can include um, like the actual day, month, day, year. I always, whenever I'm making notes in journals and diaries and stuff like that, I always put what time I'm writing, one in the afternoon, one in the morning. Or, yeah. And then also, where are you? You might just be at home, but maybe you're traveling and you want to remember, oh, when I was on my trip to New York City, I had this thought. I was grateful that I saw a Statue of Liberty or whatever, right? Um, so it's up to you how, because it would be cool to flip back through. And that's why I kept it really simple as well, because you can flip back through. There's only a couple hundred pages, so it won't cover a full year unless you only do it once a week or every few days. And then you can flip back very easily and see, like, just a sentence or a word answers, and where your thought patterns are and how you're processing information. So the second question in the workbook is, what did I learn today? It's like, oh, great. Yeah, we are in school. It's a workbook. Well, there's that meme that goes around to, I was today years old when I learned that. You can use a this for a that, or. So what did I learn today? It may be as simple as, yeah, you actually did learn a new word, or you learned a new uh, skill or a strategy. You learned how to do the Zumba step at the gym, or all kinds of things you learn. You learned today that you're a jerk and you made someone cry. You learned you have shitty temper. There's all kinds of things we can learn about ourselves on a daily basis. It's not always like a learning lesson. It can be a personality thing, or you learned that the friend you thought you had wasn't your friend at all. you know, you learned that free isn't free. You can go on for hours, but so it should be pretty not overwhelming to face that question. What did I learn today? You can see that. Then the last question you need to answer in the workbook at the end of the day, who did I help today? And that's a really loaded question. And I was trying to think of simple but strategic questions, and I only wanted 3 questions in the workbook. I thought, you know what? That might be interesting, because we are talking about gratitude. And so the ideas of paying it forward, paying it back, um, helping people is part of the gratitude attitude, right? So who did I help today? You could literally have helped a little lady cross the road. You could have given up your seat on the subway to a pregnant person. You could have helped someone in a wheelchair reach the can of soup they can't get to. You could have helped someone by listening to them while you're sitting at the bus stop. Uh, you could have helped someone walk their dog. You could have given someone directions. And then maybe you made an appointment to get your mammogram. You're helping yourself by getting that done. Um, so who did I help today? It might be you. It might be you that you helped. And that is good. Because again, we're not thinking about life in selfish terms. We're thinking about our life and how to get through each day without crumbling into a pile of depression. So if we think about the bright spots or things we have control over, you have control over who you help. You do. And you can help yourself, making an appointment, with people, or going for a coffee with someone, getting yourself out of the house, going to the gym. So many ways we can help ourselves and help each other. So that's the crux of the little workbook. And I really am looking forward to hearing your feedback about it. And like I said, I'm probably going to create a couple more workbooks around these types of ideas. But I just thought I'd do something super simple at first to see if the concept is appealing to anyone. Maybe you all think it sucks. I don't know. And then the last thing I wanted to comment on with how the book looks now, I haven't actually received a copy of it yet. It's still being processed while I make this video, but this video will be out when the book is finally released. And so the cover is a sunflower, and the sunflower is one of my sunflowers I grew on my patio. So it's my sunflower. And I love sunflowers, and they're beautiful, and they always want to put their face to the sun, you know, and they're yellow, they're strong, they're vibrant, and they're full of spiritual connections. And we'll get more into that sort of thing another time. The sun card on the tarot deck, the Rider-Waite deck, has a little baby on a white horse with lots of sunflowers in the background, because sunflowers are late August, September flower, right? And just growing strong and tall and being a sunflower. And then I have the blue sky. So we have the blue screen here behind me today. The blue sky has some white clouds. So the clouds aren't black storm clouds, but there's some little white puffy clouds. And those are like, they can be thought bubbles, they can be ideas, they can be the conflict we're facing, they can be foggy things or things we're not quite clear about, we don't understand yet. And you'll notice I positioned the clouds kind of behind the sunflower because we're the sunflower and we're not quite grown out of all the murkiness of what we don't understand yet. Then there is a nice sun above the sunflower. I consider that illuminating parts of ourselves that maybe we don't realize are there until we go through this workbook and try to understand ourselves better, see our own patterns, see our own desires and dreams and goals. And I don't even have a goal setting thing in this particular workbook. This is a low stress workbook. No big thoughts, just 3 questions every day till you get the rhythm of it. And then you realize your attitude of gratitude really just becomes a habit. And maybe it's already a habit for you, but I have found it has helped me so much. As I said at the beginning of this video, my big long story of all the crap I've been through the last few years, I have really found the attitude of gratitude served me when various friendships fell apart. And to this day, I don't know why, but they did. And that happens a lot to people. I see that on Facebook. Today there was a big thread in one of the groups of someone saying their friend of X number of years suddenly ghosted them out of the blue. And yeah, I've had that too. And I don't know why and how it happens, but it did. And then so the gratitude carried me through all the lockdowns. So I'd be like, okay, I'm grateful that I have this place. I don't have to worry about crazy rent. I do have to pay rent. Don't get me wrong. I do have to make money for rent. So buy those workbooks. And but the gratitude of that I was alone. And for me, I liked being alone because I have had, some marriages, lots of kids, and a lot of chaos. And so it gave me a couple of years to really just focus on myself. And I was in this new place and getting used to my new place. And so I was able to set it up because there was nowhere to go anyway. So I had the gratitude. Okay, I can go through all my stuff. I took mountains and mountains of stuff to Goodwill and then trying to organize the things that are here. And yeah, so I'm just So I had my gratitude carried me through that. And it doesn't mean being happy. And I put that in the workbook, a very short paragraph. And there's lots of noise outside. But having gratitude of attitude doesn't mean you're all happy and perky, but it does mean I'm grateful for having this experience, as crappy as it was. I've learned from this experience, and now I can help others deal with this same experience kind of idea. Um, and then being a tarot reader, I didn't do anything for a couple of years with that either, but I'm back doing tarot now. So if you want tarot readings, just email me or go to Fiverr or one of my things. I am back with that. I've come back to the path of reading tarot for people as well. In my own gratitude, that I have gratitude that I have trained for years and years. It's not magic. I trained and studied and studied and studied my tarot profession, so that I am a very good professional. And I stand by that. And that's why I didn't want to throw it away during the times of stress. So, but I'm back now, willing to share my expertise with you. So, yes, I hope you, like I said, I hope you all grab this workbook, and I want feedback on, does it work for you? Did it help? Did it make things worse? Did it make you think too much? Sometimes we don't want to think. We want to turn everything off because it's too much. It gets overwhelming. And I understand that completely. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'm Suffer Jerome on Suffer's World. Like, share, and subscribe. And like I said before, I'm back on this YouTube channel, and I'm hoping to be more regular with my YouTubes and my projects. Okay, so where's my mousy mouse? Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.